And we're live. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy, Dr. Big Rich. We're out here today hiking Canaveral National Seashores. We've pretty much gone down, so when you enter, there's gonna be 5 beaches. So we went to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is typically the nude beach. We got off there, and then I kept walking straight down. So if you look way back there, you may or may not be able to see, that's actually the Kennedy Space Center and where Elon Musk launches his rockets and whatnot. But for today, I figured we might as well just go on a nice hike down the beach, check out some of the beautiful wildlife, and chat about whatever. I'm new to the whole vlogging scene, so I'm just trying to see what we can get going and pretty much just have fun doing it. I just turned 29 the other day, and I figured it's time I start doing more things outdoors. So while I like to go paddleboarding and different things with friends, eventually you gotta start doing stuff by yourself. So that's what this is, pretty much out here all by myself. Well, I guess and the second, if you know what I mean. So I'm pretty safe out here for now. It's absolutely gorgeous here in Canaveral National Seashores. This water is fantastic. Earlier today, actually, where I had set up, because I wanted to do a quick little shoot for these breakwater supply bags. I'm gonna drop some pictures in here. They're absolutely fantastic. Somebody introduced me to these bags. You could literally dunk them, submerge them, whip them around, bring them in paddleboard. You can essentially bring them any watery conditions and you won't have any type of problem. While I was doing that, I was taking a shoot back there, and sure enough, I'm looking out in the water here and I see a shark trailing a bird. And it's funny, because there's a lot of birds, seagulls, different things like that, that essentially go off into the water and they sit there, they look for, you know, mullet and other types of fish. But it was a decent sized fin. If I had to guess, I'd say probably anywhere, honestly, like 7 feet maybe. And I've got a pretty good gauge of sharks. So when I was 18, 19, turning 20, so for 2 summers, I was a beach lifeguard here. So all the way down at the first beach down there, I used to be a lifeguard, and it was always so peaceful and nice. Canaveral National Seashores is not necessarily a beach that a lot of people go to, just because you have to go essentially 20 miles down the New Smyrna Beach coastline just to be able to get over here. And then once you do, a lot of the people who come all the way down the beach are the nudists, so they're gonna go down to beach 4, beach 5. So one typically doesn't have that many people outside of like the major holidays. Oh, also, fun fact. So this shark tooth is actually from this beach here. So I've never found a shark tooth on the beach, not once in my entire life. And trust me, I've been walking, I've been searching, and I was with someone special to me, and we were walking down the beach, and they actually found this. And they kept it, and then for one of the major holidays, they wrapped it and gifted it to me. So I thought it was pretty cool that first shark tooth that I ever got on a beach, or we ever found, was gifted to me. So now I wear it, and it's one of my favorite things, actually. So shout out this shark tooth, which is from Cape Canaveral National Seashores. But as I was saying earlier, when I was down lifeguarding my second summer, I don't know what it was. Maybe it was the weather, maybe it was something, but basically nobody was coming to the beach. And I mean nobody. There would be days where I'd have maybe 1 or 2 people at most on the beach, if that at all. Some days there'd be nobody. So I would be sitting out there on the lifeguard stand. Might have to drive or walk down there later today to show you. And I'd be at the lifeguard stand and nobody would be there. So basically what I would do is just sit there, and I would run through all the playlists, all the podcasts, and eventually that gets boring. And I remember for a good, oh man, multi-week span, and mind you, this is like 10-hour shifts, either 8 or 10, but imagine just sitting out there all alone under an umbrella, not going anywhere. And I used to just think. To be honest, it was one of the best summers for just thinking about myself, what I want to do, how I want to get active and do things back at school. So at the time I was at the University of Florida, and I remember that summer was good because when you really have the time to sit down and think, you'd be surprised what you can find out about yourself. And then you can also figure out what you want to do with your life, your friends, your family. And yeah, I really value that summer because as much as it was just me sitting there with absolutely nothing to do, I forced myself to just think. I thought a lot about the books that I was writing. I thought a lot about what I wanted to accomplish, what I wanted to do, and it was fantastic. And even now today, I think there's a profound beauty in just taking in nature. Oh, look at this crab, hold on. I don't know if you can see this, but this crab is here. He's my friend. That's a big crab. Look at that guy. See if we can get me in a little crabby. Look at him. And off into the water he goes. Back when I was doing my PhD in Auburn, my advisor, he used to get up throughout the day and he would just go on walks around campus. We used to have an arboretum, and he would walk down to the arboretum and walk in nature 15, 20 minutes at a time. And he would just bring a notebook, a small little portable notebook. He would just write down any ideas that he had. He would walk, he would think. He had one for every type of thing, from quotations to science to projects that he wanted to do. And he taught me a lot, because what he would do is he would come up with a whole bunch of ideas, and then he would put them in his Excel sheet. Then he would rank them. How he would rank them is through giving them binary scores of 0s and 1s, with the occasional score of 2 for something like money-making ability. Some of the categories were novelty, ability to make money, how easy or difficult is it, how much does this idea cost to do or to perform, and a whole bunch of other categories that he has. And then it would automatically rank them. And how the rankings were done is he would take the top ones, and that's what he would choose to write his grants on. So one of his grants that he received, which actually got us a publication in Nature Communications Engineering, was for CNC knitting of micro-resolution mosquito bite blocking textiles. Essentially what he did was he got a gigantic knitting machine, like an industrial-sized knitting machine, and we manipulated different fabrics, and we made a fabric that's essentially as light as Under Armour that can block mosquito bites from occurring. And this was #1 on his list, and when he submitted the grant for it, he got it, and he ended up getting about $1 million with that grant, and it was very successful. The product's actually going to be launched soon, but that just goes to show you that there's a way that you can do these things. But I always thought that was cool. So I try to do a similar thing where I rank my scientific ideas and then obviously my personal ideas. Now, one of the things that I'm very interested in, we're gonna pause, look at this. So these are little tide pools, and this happens between tides. So for example, I believe I think the tide's going out. And it's cool because sometimes you can get little fish trapped in here. And when we get to some fish, I'm gonna show you. But basically these are beautiful tide pools. And in the summertime too, a lot of times kids will go and they'll play in these little tide pools because they're basically like mini jacuzzis because they get warm from the sun and they're pretty shallow, so they're really nice. Occasionally, sometimes, if there's canals or divots, you can have sharks that get stuck in these canals. So I've seen 3, 4, 5 foot sharks stuck. The biggest one I actually saw, or I guess 2 of them, further down that beach. I was at that station one time, and there were 2 bull sharks, 6 to 8 feet about, and they were moving down. They were caught in a shallow canal. So basically the tide had gone out and there had been a canal in there, and they were just moving back and forth. So we had to go along and tell people, hey, you don't want to be in the water when that's happening. This is just beautiful. Again, I might be rambling, I might be talking too much, but to be honest, I feel like it's nice, it's fun, and to be honest, it gives you something to do. But we're only gonna get better, and this is just the start, because I wanna edit some good videos, I wanna get some content out there, and basically just hang out with you guys, have a good time, hike, explore nature. Got a paddleboard coming soon, so we'll be able to paddleboard. Oh, we've got some fish in here. I don't know if you can see them. They're moving in between. There's some fish there. They're little minnows moving around. Oh, here we go. Look, here's some that are caught. Check this out. Look at this. See that? We'll help him out. And check that out. Beautiful. Got some nice little waves out there too. Fun fact, if you go surfing out here, is that there's so many sharks. I'll tell you what. So back when I used to lifeguard down the beach, and like I said, not too many people were out there. So I like to surf when there's some people around, just in case something were to happen. Keeps the sharks away. But out here, especially when you sit up top in a lifeguard post, let's say 13, 10 feet tall, however tall it is, and you have polarized and UV sunglasses, on these clear days or where the water's not too turbulent, today would be a gorgeous day actually if I was up top. when you look into the water, the amount of sharks you would see is absolutely ridiculous. It would blow your mind. Every single day I would see a minimum of one shark, and this is not even a lie. Literally a minimum of one shark if I was sitting up there looking in the water and it was clear. Obviously turbulent days or after a storm, you can't see too much. But to be honest, when you're watching the water, you can see fins come up, you can distinguish dolphins, manatees, you can see the bait balls moving, you can see the sharks in there, you can see everything. And funny enough, I've got a story for you for when I was lifeguarding down here. So this was my last summer. I was sitting up in the guard tower and I had a friend with me who was also a lifeguard. This was before he left because he had to go back to school. And we were sitting up there, people were in the water, then a whole bunch of people got out of the water. We look over, saw a giant bait ball pretty much. And in this bait ball, thousands, hundreds of mullet, we counted about 7 sharks, 7 black tips, maybe a couple spinners, but 7 black tips in there, just moving up and down, eating these bait balls, right? So we're sitting up there watching like, wow, this is a pretty sight, right? Not thinking too much of it. And next thing you know, and people are out of the water, by the way, we see this couple, young couple in their 20s, and they start getting into the water and they start walking out. And mind you, this bait ball is maybe 50 yards off. I'd say if you see where those waves are, like the one coming in the back there, come forward maybe like 50 feet. So not too far offshore, but a decent bit. And this couple starts swimming out there. And I'm like, no. So he's like, Rich, my other lifeguard, go down there. You got to get down there. So I'm like, dang, I jump off this tower and we had ATVs. So I start driving this ATV down the beach and I drive over to them and I'm like, yo, I'm trying to yell out at them and they keep going and they start swimming out there. And so now I'm like, oh no. So I hop in the water and I start swimming. At the time, you know, I was in, I would say pretty good shape. I was lean, I was fit. And swam out there real quick. I'm like, yo, what are you doing? At this point, I kid you not, we were probably less than 30 feet from the bait ball, if that. Literally less than 30, 20 feet. It was close. The sharks are in there. And I'm like, yo, what are you guys doing? You gotta get back. And they're like, no, we want to go over there. And I'm like, what are you doing? And they go, I kid you not, they go, I want to play with the dolphins. Dolphins? Those are not dolphins. Those are sharks. So I told them, I said, those are about 7 black tip sharks in there. Of course, they start freaking out. The girlfriend's yelling. I'm like, come on, quick, just be calm, come on back. So they ended up coming back. And I was like, please don't do that. People on the beach were laughing. They thought it was the funniest thing ever. Although it's not so funny at the time, but I'm looking for shark teeth, see if we can find another. That's the struggle. But yeah, it's just funny because if you don't know what it is, don't assume it's a dolphin, please. And if that, also, dolphins sometimes aren't also your friends. The male dolphins can be hyper aggressive. So I remember hearing a story my first summer out here where there was a lifeguard down at, I think, one of these beaches down here. And typically, so in the mornings, you have to go out and you have to test the tides. Pretty much you see where it's going, where the rips are, what the current's like. And oftentimes, if you've got a rescue board, you can go out there and you can chill on it. So he was out there surfing, hanging out early morning before a lot of the people got there, and there were dolphins around. Now, one thing about the male dolphins is the male dolphins can get pretty aggressive. So one of these dolphins was swimming around, and they're freaky too, because you could be out on a board, you'll see one 20, 30, 40 feet away, next thing you know, it pops up right next to you, and it's got its eye out there. That's happened to me a couple times. It's always freaky. But anyway, the guy's surfing, and it was watching him catch a couple waves. They were like low lulls, so he's catching these waves. Next thing you know, he's sitting on the board and this dolphin jumps up, hits him right in the chest, broke his sternum and some of his ribs. He had to go to the hospital. But they told me that story and they're like, look, if you see dolphins out there, it's not your sign that you should play around. Because a lot of times people are like, oh, there's dolphins, there's no sharks. To be honest, there's dolphins and sharks. They're all around. You just have to be vigilant. But nature is nature and we just have to appreciate it for what it is. I mean, even out here, it's absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. So that was a fun job to have, especially nice before, you know, you go back to school and then you got to work in a lab and you got to study and take classes and everything like that. So that's that. Oh, check this out. So this right here, I'm sure you can see. This is a dragonfly. Oh my gosh, it's alive. I thought it was dead. Can we help him? Oh, we can help him. We can help him. Oh my gosh, are we helping the dragonfly? Come on, come. I think he just got wet. Come on, grab this. Go. Come here. There you go. So we've got this To be honest, I think if we move him back there, his wings will dry and he'll be able to go. Go ahead, you got it, little guy. Let's help him out. Beautiful. Let's see. So we were able to save the dragonfly. He just flew away. So that's good, we did our part. I'm curious how his wings got wet like that. But fun fact, since we saw a dragonfly, and I do have a PhD in entomology, I feel it's my obligation to share with you everybody's favorite dragonfly fact. So did you know, out of all of the animals in the animal kingdom, provided this is a study, there could be something else, I understand it's only what we know, but dragonflies are the most accurate hunters. They're so accurate that they can track a singular fly or prey item out of a group of them, and they have a 95% capture rate, 95% success rate. This means that if there was a fly moving around, there's a group of them, they can track and lock onto one fly, and 95% of the time they will capture it. Now, just for reference, I believe lions are around 30%, great whites are about 45. Oh no, he's stuck again. Look at this guy. We gotta help him. We cannot let this little guy, come here, little guy. There you go, that's the right direction. Yeah, it looks like he's got sand on the back part of his abdomen. We'll put him up here. Come on, little guy. Come here. Come here. There you go. See, as long as he gets away from the water, he should be fine. Look at him go, there he goes. All right, see, we've done our part, we've helped nature, and we've been appreciating nature. Also, shout out the adventure hat, was gifted this. So pretty much when I go on adventures, I try to wear it lightweight, Ron Johns, and I feel like it's also fitting for being at the beach here. But yeah, 95% accurate hunting. Man, I feel like I could just talk about anything, but I guess that's the point, and that's where the fun is. But anyway, no, beaches are super cool. I actually prefer beaches. It's weird because I get in this discussion a lot with people about mountains or beaches, and I feel like there's inherent beauty in both. Obviously, I guess that would be the case. But there's just, to me, something about when you're at a beach, there's so much life. Whether you look at the dunes, you look at the crabs in the dunes, you look at this Canaveral National Seashores, there's also turtles, turtle mounds. Basically, it's like there's so much life. You've got herrings, you've got different birds, you've got bait balls, you've got sharks, you've got tide pools. Every day it's constantly changing, especially with the weather. You can come here when it's hot, when it's cold, when it's cloudy. You can come to the beach when it's raining. To be honest, anytime you're at the beach, I feel like it's honestly just a phenomenal time. It's amazing, actually. Whereas when you're in the mountains, and sometimes I feel like it's the same. So there's something surreal about when you're hiking, let alone hiking in the mountains. Last year I was in San Francisco for some time working there for a startup, and me and a group of people, we went down, I forget where it is. I'm gonna have to find it and I'm gonna drop a pin on the map and show you where it's at. But essentially we went around these winding roads and we went on a nice hike in the mountains, and it was absolutely gorgeous. Hi everybody, that's Big Charlie. When you hike through the mountains, I feel like the air, the grass, what you see, the different types of animals, it's just a totally different experience. So that's why it's hard when people say mountains are oceans, because I feel like what you get intrinsically out of them, it's very different, yet very much the same. Either way, being outside, being away from the hustle and bustle of the people, being here, seeing you have no place to go, there's nothing you need to do. It's honestly beautiful. Because in reality, this is what it is. Look at this. Every single day, the tides will rise, the tides will go out, the birds will fly, the rain will come, the sun will come, the dunes will be pushed to and fro, the hurricanes will come, the weather will come. And all of the small stuff, the problems that you have, they don't really matter. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't. It really doesn't. And that's one benefit of when you come in nature. There's something about, someone said, go to someplace big and it'll make your problems feel small. And I do think that that's the case, because when I'm out here, for example, not that I have anything to worry about or anything, but just looking around here, what is there to worry about? Look at the light glimmer off of those waves as they come in over there. That slow roll of the waves, the different colors based off of the way the light is entering the water, how soft the tide is coming in, the salt is crumbling, revealing different types of seashells. Look at the way that the grasses are moving in the wind. I mean, it is just a gorgeous day. Do you think I want to worry about paying my taxes right now or something? It's obviously not tax season, but you know what I'm saying? Like, yes, we have to do what we have to do. Everybody has responsibilities, but that doesn't mean that we can ignore nature. It doesn't mean that we should ignore nature. Speaking of stories, I got a story for you. Actually, I got a couple. Since we're at the beach, I feel like it's fitting to talk about sharks. So I'm actually not afraid of sharks, at least small sharks. Now, I moved down here. I've always been coming to Florida, but my junior year of high school is when my family relocated down here to be closer to my grandparents and everything. And while I was down here in high school, I befriended a foreign exchange student from Spain who was staying with the exchange brother, was a competitive surfer in New Smyrna Beach. And they had about 30, 40 different surfboards in their garage. So when I came down here, we befriended each other. We were on the soccer team. And he said, hey, Rich, you want to come out and surf? Now, I'd surfed a couple times in Delaware and around, but never properly or learned all the different techniques. So I said, yeah, let's do it. So I went out with him for, probably the whole fall and spring of my junior, senior year. And I'd go out a couple times a week and we would surf together. We'd go out after school or after soccer practice. And that was funny because there were days we'd be out there hitting the water at like 5 p.m. in the winter where, you know, the sun is coming down, and I've got something for that. But I thought, oh, let me get a more portable board. So my first board that I got was sub 6. I think it was like 5 foot something. Maybe it barely touched 6, pointed tip, crested. Oh, it's phenomenal at carving and cutting. But the thing is shorter boards, while you get more maneuverability, you sit lower in the water and you can only ride certain types of waves. Whereas me personally, now that I'm older, I prefer longer boards, because longer boards, you could catch these slow moving waves and you can just ride them in. They ride for a while. Also, you can sit on them and you can put your feet up there. Don't have to worry about a shark grabbing your feet. So anyway, I'd go out there with this 5, 6 foot board and we would surf, we'd have some fun. I learned all types of techniques, everything. It was a blast. But man, have I had my encounters with sharks. So this is where I first learned that oftentimes sharks will come up and they'll whack you with their tail to try to feel you out. The amount of times that I've been out in New Smyrna Beach and I've gotten whacked by a tail, and probably, like I said, all small, sub 5 foot sharks for the most part where I was going. They whack you, you feel that rough sandpapery tail. And then me personally, I'd say, okay, I'm done. I get out because I don't want to mess with that. Also, we're a decent bit offshore. Whereas my friend Hamish would be like, no, let's go out there, Rich, come on, have some fun. And he would stay out there surfing, but man, I couldn't do that. So I've seen sharks out there. There's times where I'm surfing, they'll come up right next to you and swim along, or they're getting fish. And for the most part, small sharks I'm not worried about. The larger ones, obviously, you gotta watch out. One of the largest ones I've ever seen was here in Cape Canaveral National Seashores. So this was when I was lifeguarding with that friend that I was telling you about. He was also a lifeguard, but he was a heavier guy. And as such, he had to do a lot of PT. Our boss made him do a whole bunch of PT. And basically, what that would entail, just make sure I'm still filming. Yep. So he had to do a lot of PT. And basically, what that would entail is in the early morning when we go out to check the tides, I would typically go out on the 11-foot rescue board. Thick board, floated well. Oh man, I was coasting these waves. I was having a blast. And he would have to swim with flippers, fins, and his rescue buoy. And it was fun because we would go out every day. And what you can notice is if you look out there, you can hear the wind, you can hear the waves crashing, and the wind is typically always coming onshore, like it's coming towards me now. Well, when you're past where the waves break, because the wind is typically moving onshore, it is quiet. And when I say quiet, I mean deathly quiet. But in the morning time, it's beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. So we'd go out there, test the water conditions, and I'd be laying on the board, and we would just sit out there and talk. He would have his fins, arms on the board, resting, and we would just talk. have a good time, and, you know, take in the beautiful quiet, like as quiet as you can imagine. So anyway, one day we're there, and we're offshore, kid you not, about 100 yards, so maybe a little bit longer than about a football field, a little bit longer than a football field, because you got to really go out there if you want to check the tides. So anyway, we go out there, and we're chilling. We were talking for about 15 minutes. I'm on the board, both of my feet are on the board. He's laying out in the water, fins out, and then his arms are just resting on the tip of the board. We're just talking about life or Dunkin' Donuts. He used to work at Dunkin' Donuts too. Man, he put me on. Shout out Dunkin' Donuts. But we're there, and then I kid you not, about a 9.5, 10-foot shark, one literally almost as big as that whole board, and I still remember it too. It was dark gray, and mind you, I couldn't tell what type of shark it was, because I know what tigers look like, I know what hammerheads look like, I know what bull sharks look like. I'm not sure. Also, it was a little bit under the water, but it was almost the size of the board, and he can attest to this too. And it literally went right in between his legs as he was like splayed out, and it went right underneath of his legs. And oh man, the look on our face, because we looked at each other and said, oh buddy, we're literally over 100 yards offshore, we're in bad shape. So he starts freaking out because it had gone right under his legs. I think it touched the inside of his leg too. So he starts trying to panic, and I'm like, no, because I didn't want him to get on the board. It would flip, sink, we cause some problems. So I was like, just grab the board and we'll pretend we're an even bigger shark. So he like grabbed the board, and I just start paddling, and I'm paddling, and he's trying to lay out flat, so we're extending the length of the board. And the whole time we're just like, oh boy, because it's a decent paddle to get back in shore, but at any given point, this thing can just come up. And at that size, at 9, 10, I mean, it might have been even 10 foot, because I'm telling you, it was almost the whole size of the board. Almost the whole size of that rescue board. Man, but we made it in, didn't see it. And after that, he's like, Rich, if we're going out there, I'm taking the big board too. And I was like, understandable. You just don't expect that. Obviously, this is their habitat. The sharks are out there. But when you go out there, you just have to be aware. You never know what's out there. There's small sharks, big sharks, everything. But man, it's freaky when you don't expect it. You know they're there, but then when you have an encounter like that, it spooks you. And that was freaky. I mean, man, it's just, yeah. But you know, that's just some of them. And obviously I've had other experiences with smaller sharks and things like that, but that was one where I was like, well, if something happens, it happens, because when you're that far out, you can't panic, because that's the worst thing you can do, is to attract the shark, bring it in closer, make it actually attack you. And then you've got to paddle slowly, because if you start going fast, you know, it thinks you're fleeing, and then it senses fear or whatever the case may be, and then you're done. So basically, we were at that shark's mercy that day. More so him than me, just because I had that board, but still, wild experience nonetheless. But yeah, so that's sharks for you. Again, can't get over how beautiful it is out here. I mean, it is absolutely stunning. I could walk this beach for miles and miles. And that's why I'm glad that at the age of 29, I'm out here having fun. Because I understand you could do this playing video games. And trust me, when Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out, you won't see me out here much at all. Although I will say that I'm gonna play during the weeks and still come out in nature, because GTA can't touch this. They might try, and trust me, I'll have my beachfront property and everything, but yeah, this is just absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Man. Phenomenal. But yeah, I appreciate you guys coming on this walk with me, where I'm just chatting, talking to you guys, taking in the nature. And it's nice because I get the opportunity to talk, and then also check out all these beautiful seashells and just tell some stories too. Got a bunch of them.